If you consider yourself spiritual or religious, you need to watch this. So basically, everything is spiritual. This is true. Everything is spiritual. Everything, absolutely everything is spiritual. And if you think you already understand this concept, I still want you to continue to watch because I'm going to show you something. Everything is spiritual. And I made a video recently, and somebody made a comment that inspired me to do this video. It's a good inspiration because what I want to talk about is actually the different a difference here between saying something and having that as a belief and knowing something, right? So everything is spiritual. Good, bad, ugly, what you like, what you don't like, all of it is spiritual. And all of it is created by God. All of it. The worst of the worst and the best of the best. And your mind's going to want to fight me on this because that's what your mind is designed and has been programmed to do. There is nothing that is not created or designed by God and therefore part of God. This is going to be a very hard concept for a lot of people to swallow, so you're probably going to want to let it take a chance and marinate. Okay? A lot of people say everything is spiritual, but when you say something and that's really so for you, you're an embodiment of it. Okay? And here's the difference between a spiritual master and a teacher and other things of this nature is that a master is going to build you up and break you down many times. But it's all done for several purposes. It's done out of love. It's done out of to take you to the truth and to destroy that which is false. Because a master builds you up into truth and destroys what's false. And a big part of what is false is beliefs. You have a lot of false beliefs, and a lot of people spend time professing false beliefs. But a master is like the sky and like the weather. There's many different types of weather, but it's all weather, which means the truth is weather, right? Even though the weather may be different, the sky is always the same. The sky is always the same, even though the truth may be different at different times in different places and different locations. Just like time itself may be, linear time itself will be different in all different locations, times, and places at the same time, right? So, but the master is true like the sky. It's unchangeable. But like the sky, many weather patterns are used to express. So sometimes one can't understand the message that's being brought to you because you're too much time criticizing the weather rather than realizing the sky. You're staying low when you could go high. Okay? And the master is meant to bring you to that highness, not so that you are like the weather, which is how for many people it is now, and there's nothing wrong with that, but so that you become sky, that which is higher. Okay? So if you can't look deep enough, you won't find the message. And that's the truth of many spiritual prophets that have come, mystics, mystic masters, spiritual masters, whatever word you want to use for them. A lot of people get too caught up in words as if words equal truth. Words do not equal truth, although words are part of truth, but not all, and not at all times, right? So someone made a comment, basically everything is spiritual, masturbation, sex, cleaning, doing work. What makes it spiritual is perspective. and realizing that we all have the potential to grow spirit, both good and bad. I'm not going to name no names. This app video, see, if your ego is too big, you're going to see it like a shade throwing, right? You could be like, ooh, wow, right? But it's not for that. It's to actually teach and to pierce into truth. You got to pierce it. That's why it's like going through the eye of the needle. I have to sacrifice a lot, okay? And in order for that, what's going to happen is, right? People will ignore anything that doesn't go along with their beliefs. This is because if they come to find out reality and that's not in alignment with their beliefs, then they may feel dumb or gullible. They may feel like, what does that say about me? What it means about you is nothing. It means that you live in the world. And the world has been designed to give you beliefs. And the world works as a society as a whole based on that. Okay? So, what does it mean? It means you were born. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything. But there's always chance to change that situation for yourself. Right? And so if you have to give up false beliefs, you sacrifice a lot for those false beliefs. Right? And by you sacrificing so much for those false beliefs, when you hear truth, it won't, it'll bump up against that and you'll want to fight. You'll get angry and you'll get upset and you'll think somebody's coming at you, but ain't nobody coming. Because who's coming is nobody. But that's something, a whole nother topic. So then I say to the person, right? And I really actually am thanking you for bringing this up because it's a beautiful situation that really, if you can pierce into what I'm saying to you, okay, then it's going to provide you a little bit more freedom in your life and it's going to take you the next level up. Not everyone's going to understand what's being said, but you may understand pieces of what's being said, and that's going to take you up, right? So I said, how about violence? Basically, violence, abuse, racism, murder, rapes, criminal activity. Are all those things spiritual, right? And the response was, I wasn't including the dark side of human nature when I meant bad. I mean, as society sees as bad, sex and masturbation, but people look upon things you listed as spiritual and they see other things as satanic and evil origin. Whatever it is, people can view anything as spiritual, but that doesn't mean it's good for something we as a collective should do. Absolutely. So, absolutely. Just because everything is spiritual, that means all that bad shit is spiritual too. And what spiritual mean is the same thing as saying God. It's the same thing coming from God. Everything is spiritual, so everything comes from God, right? But a lot you've been built and sacrificed so much for these false beliefs about what is God and so who and what is God, okay? And right now you may be experiencing a conflict with that. But in reality, what's being given to you is the keys to get out of jail free. So here's the thing, the mind, okay, loves to allow some things and not others. The truth is, all those bad things I mentioned, all that shit is spiritual too. It doesn't mean that it's good, it doesn't mean go do it. See, that's the difference. When you think something is spiritual, you think it means go do it, or that somehow it's good. It doesn't matter how good or evil that you think it is, it's all spiritual. It all comes from the great spirit, which is God, right? And that's in everything. And it's the material of everything, right? But when you hold on to the false or you believe something falsely, it actually becomes a barrier to you knowing the truth, right? But you've given and you've paid a lot of time, effort, energy into that falseness, and it's not something too easy to let go of or let free. And that's understood because, again, there's another falseness that has been compounded to make sure that stays in place. Okay? And so all those things are spiritual. That doesn't mean that they're good in the terms of society or what should be done. Just because something's spiritual doesn't mean you should do it. Okay? And just because basically everything is spiritual, so obviously there's certain shit you shouldn't do, not only for the collective, but also actually for yourself. Okay? Just like you wouldn't go sit in a fire, right? Unless you had that loi, right? You wouldn't go sit in the fire, etc. You know you're gonna get burned. So there's certain things you shouldn't do because it's not wise actions, because there's certain other actions, reactions that you don't want. Okay? Certain reactions which are negative to certain other conditions that you want to continue. Now that's something I just big that I said there. Okay? Certain things, they may not be wise for you, but they're not wise simply because you don't want the reactions that come from those things. Okay? Or you realize the fruitlessness of it, which is even bigger. Because then it goes out of being just selfish. Right? And you realize that you're working against the all, which is everything, including that which you don't like, even including that which is seen as bad and is bad in the terms of, you know, all the conditions that is that which is life, right? And that which is natural and right to actually serving God, which is to allow life. So it's easy to miss the message, right? In order to really make that be a truth instead of something you just believe, you see, like the response here is that basically, no, there's basically things that I want to be able to do, and that people as a whole look at as wrong or bad. Okay, the truth is, what people as a whole see isn't truth either. Right? The truth is something that there are many layers of work of society that has gone on to keep people from reality. Because reality, it your freedom costs you in order to be see reality, be woke, be conscious, your freedom, okay, is gonna transform you and it's gonna cost you. And it's gonna cost you a huge amount, more than any money can buy. More than any money. Okay? And that freedom is going to free you, though. Okay? So it's the beauty of the truth. So the fact is, what she says here is correct. Just because something is spiritual, since everything is spiritual, doesn't mean you should go and do it. Doesn't mean that it's right for the condition of the collective of everyone else. Doesn't mean it's right just because it's not the shit is not right. Like it is what it is. Certain things is right and certain things ain't right. But actually everything that you have, even that is a judgment. Right? So like in the beginning, in a way, what she said is something true and that she may be able to recognize and he or she, actually I'm not 100% sure, may be able to recognize, in some aspects, right? Holding on to the idea that recognizing it in some aspects means recognize it in all aspects does not mean truth. You get a little bit closer, but again, that's why you need someone that guides you and takes you down that path, who's been there, who knows, right? That's why one has what it is. And in all traditions, okay, that's what it said. There's a reason for all that because there are certain things that are true. Again, they're true because of certain conditions. It's true if you don't want to get burned, you don't stick your feet in fire, right? Because of the condition that you also don't want your feet burned. There's, okay, but that doesn't mean it's the ultimate truth, right? And when you do reach that, there's a transformation. So many things that are actually truth within society run through you. And because you are truth, right, there's certain things that are true in society, okay, that are fundamental truths because of many ways that it affects, right? Such as not doing many things like violence, abuse, racism, murder, all of that. But if otherwise, right, you're holding yourself against truth. So if you're spiritual, right, that's why you needed to watch this or religious, right? There's many reasons that this is the way that it is, and I'm not going to cover that all in this video. I'll leave that up to y'all in the comments, and then we can move forward from there.